All right. So I've spent probably more time than I care to mention on this, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. We have a door. All right. So I do the dramatic entry for a couple of reasons. Okay. Number one, I didn't show everything that I did. In fact, I didn't film at all because this was complicated. So essentially, what you're looking at is a reconstruction in halfway. Okay. So the door itself had a latch in it that was completely worthless. I had one in my stash, so I'm using it. It's spring loaded. Inside of the door, it's got a sandwich here, was a wasp's nest that I had to hollow out. Yeah, had to get the wasp's nest out. Not occupied, I should mention. Still a little bit more to do. I do want to take these screws out and trim them a little bit, but to a point where I felt comfortable filming. So yeah, the door has an inside and an outside. Maybe touch up with a little bit more primer here before doing some additional paint work, but I'm pretty happy with that. So what I had to reconstruct was essentially the entire frame here. So it was soft balsa, and if you just looked at it, it would break. I had already broken it twice, and then trying to just peel off the original covering that was on here. The top piece broke off, and then this piece broke off down here, and I was like, just forget it. So I used some hard balsa, not basswood, just hard balsa, and built a new frame, and then reinforced it with 1/64 inch ply. You can see the ply reinforcement underneath the covering right here. So I just used a cap here and on the back side, and then again up here. You can see it right there. It goes up the side and is on the back side. And then here again, and then down here. So it's reinforced with CA and 1/64 inch ply. And let me tell you, it's a heck of a lot more sturdy now. I can at least sneeze in the same room as this door, and it's not going to break. And then I had to figure out the hinge situation. The hinge line was not really going to work with offset hinges, and clearly the person before didn't really know what to do. It's kind of tricky because the full scale, this whole panel here is completely flat. Completely flat. I even checked my reference pictures. It is flat from the corner of the windshield all the way down to here, and it's one continuous line of hinge on the full scale. And it's just not. It's curvy the whole way. So I did the best I could. Used our go-to Dubro hinges just to try to get things smooth and reliable. And that's what we've got on the inside. Cut a new piece of canopy material, just PETG, and screwed it on. Again, these are leftover screws. Each one of these screws in the canopy windows is leftover screws from taking this thing apart. That being said, yesterday, for those who missed it, I did put this together without the door because I hadn't done the door yet, and I did taxi testing. So for those keen-eyed, steely-eyed folks out there, yes, those are dead bugs. Those are dead bugs on the prop. That's just from taxiing around outside in my backyard because I wanted to just assemble the plane and focus on some of the easier things before tackling this door. I'm happy with how the door turned out, but yeah, it was about 4 hours of work to do that. Just that door. Between sanding it down, shaping it, redoing that frame, and then covering it with Oratex, and then doing the window, and then hinging, and putting the CA on, and anyway, it's done. So, of note, yesterday I was playing around with this guy, the center of gravity. Center of gravity, I mean, it looks, honestly, without a battery in it, it's pretty much dead on. It only sags a little bit in the nose, which means that battery placement is problematic. So that is why you saw the batteries when the door was open. Batteries are right there. Okay. Now the reason I do that is because I've seen people try to put batteries in, like in the center, and it just does not work. When these big wings are on and you're trying to stuff batteries in here, you want it in as easy as possible. And I've actually got a club meeting tonight, and I'm gonna check with some other guys and see what they think in terms of the center of gravity. Maybe we'll do some more taxi testing at the field, but I am going to purposefully not charge the batteries, so I'm not tempted to do a maiden. Not to mention it's supposed to be stupid windy. So yeah, I've got my battery placement worked out. I've got my receiver mostly secured. I am considering redoing the Y harnesses for the ailerons and flaps. They seem to be working now, but something for a future date. The cowl needs to be completely sanded down eventually and painted properly instead of just the gel coat that's on it. That leaves us here. Well, what is this happy little package? This is a wing bag. For those who missed it, I make my own wing bags, or at least most of the time I do. I do have a purchased wing bag for my P-47, but that's because I need the microfiber not to scratch up the polished aluminum. But yeah, we have the old needle and thread broken out last night, and I've got pockets for the wing struts and 2 individual pockets for the wings, and it all fits together very, very nicely and is ready for transport. So I am going to knock off for the rest of today and just wait for my club meeting. And I'm going to have this out at the field and maybe get a couple of shots of it taxiing around. But here we are. We're basically set for maiden. I'm pretty stoked. Pretty nervous, pretty stoked. But just want to have a little heart-to-heart with you guys. I know that it's not the greatest content, but sometimes the little things that you have to button up, like some of the car YouTubers, they don't always show you all the nitty-gritty things about the wiring. And that's really what the door was. There was no point. It's all stuff that I've talked about before and I've shared with you guys, so not a big deal in my book. Anyway, I hope that the next time I really post something about the Tripacer, it'll be good news. I'm pretty excited, and I'm pretty excited for Patrick too. It's been a fun project, and I have to also lastly give a huge thank out, yeah. My brain is clearly a little bit toasty. Anyway, wanted to thank our partners. And first of all, I want to thank Dubro for stepping up and sending us some fantastic hardware. In addition to the Dubro hardware that I already had, it was much appreciated and a wonderful thought. Master Air Screw, thank you so much for the props that you sent. I will be doing a special how I select props kind of video and be using those props as part of that. So that's something to look forward to in the future. And then last but certainly not least, Horizon Hobby for your wonderful contribution of Oratex. Thank you so much for that. This airplane looks a million times better than that plastic covering. And we're still not done yet. We've still got to do some paint and touch-up work on this once it flies. I want to make sure that this flies first. And given the current battery situation, I'm not sure that we're going to get to the cockpit just because we got to have the batteries in there. Is what it is, but that cowl, that fiberglass cowl is heavy. Told you guys that earlier, and I was not kidding. Anyway, I hope to report on this soon. Wish me luck, guys, and continue working on your flying works of art.